doing fine until Warren sang that last tag. God reigns, let the earth be glad indeed. Thank you all for being here, for coming to honor the memory of a man I was blessed to share the last quarter of a century with, first as a friend and a dancing partner, then as a soulmate, and then finally as his wife. There are no members of my or Lou's family in attendance today. They came when Lou and I needed them most. My brother started driving here from Kansas City the day after Lou died. He was a great help to me that week and good company. Lou's son, his sister, and a very close cousin and his wife visited Lou right after he made the decision to go into hospice at the end of February. And they arrived one after the other, seriatim, from Massachusetts, Colorado, and New Hampshire. Lou was so touched they were making those long trips to come see him, but he was a bit concerned he would have the energy to really visit with them as he wanted to do. But Lou talked and laughed literally from morning till sundown, only taking a short nap here and there. And I will cherish the memory of those final family visits. Because Lou had the most wonderful laugh, and that was the last time I heard him laugh. His cousin, Joe Conti, was the last to visit, and when I asked Joe if he had a memory of Lou that he wanted me to share at the service, he told me a story that I had never heard, and I heard a lot of stories from Lou over 25 years, but this one was new. Joe was only 4 years older than Lou, and they grew up together like brothers. Joe's mother died in childbirth, and he went to live with Lou's maternal grandparents when his mother was only 16. So from Joe's perspective, Lou's mom was his mom, and when Lou was born 4 years later, that was his baby brother. And Lou told me that when Lou was in college, Joe went to hang out with him, and there was a girl in the group they were visiting with named Kathy. And after that, they went over to Lou's fraternity house to have some beers and laughs, as college guys will do. And Lou said, you know, that Kathy's quite a gal, that's how Joe put it. You really ought to get her phone number and ask her out. And Joe did, and they've been married over 50 years. So I never knew Lou was a matchmaker. The day before Joe and Kathy left, after their visit with Lou, Louis E. Dardi got himself up and walked through the woods from our cabin to the studio house, and y'all know how far that is, where Joe's rental car was parked, and they took off downtown to pay the utility bills. Lou thought you had to go in person to Amicalola and EMC to pay the bills. I think Joe went in, but Lou walked to that car. I didn't advise it. I said if he failed, Joe could either pick him up or have me call 911, but Lou made it. And that was Lou's last burst of energy on March 8th. He would decline steadily over the next 2 weeks until he died early on the Monday morning before Easter, drawing his final hours of breath under the brightest moonbeams of a full Paschal moon, which is the first full moon after the spring equinox that heralds the coming of Easter, the coming of resurrection, the coming of hope. And Lou would very much like to have known that fact about dying under a full Paschal moon, because he liked facts of every manner, shape, and kind. There was no topic that man was not interested in. He could carry on a conversation with anyone about anything. Lou and I once visited my best friend from seminary. She still lives on her parents' farm. It was a tobacco farm when she grew up. It's not anymore. But her parents are still alive, and we went to visit them. And while I was visiting with my friend and her mom in the kitchen, Lou wandered off into the living room with her dad, where they talked about farming literally for hours. And after Lou died, my friend emailed me this note. She wrote, "What a life Lou lived, and yet such an humble man. I will never forget the way he interacted with Dad, who has never traveled and whose occupation most aren't interested in or think they know about in an odd way. But Lou spent time, asked questions, was interested, and generally wanted to know, and that was a gift to us both." Now, if Lou could have read that email, he would just have shaken his head and said, "Why is Nathalie so appreciative? I didn't do anything. I wasn't being kind to her dad. I just wanted to know. I really just wanted to know." And that was my Lou. He really just wanted to know about everything with a capital E. He read constantly. not only his beloved crime fiction and military thrillers, but also books on science, math, physics, history. Ancient Greece and Rome were a particular favorite. He read about bridge. He traveled to bridge tournaments as a younger adult. He loved books on language. Lou loved knowing the etymology of words, where they came from, particularly words with Latin roots. He enjoyed reading books on the rules of grammar. He would read dictionaries, like I would read a historical romance novel. Anything in the physical world that had a hard fact attached to it, Lou was interested in. And that was Lou's approach to his God as well, through the hard facts of the material world. Lou's knowledge of science gave him an understanding of God as a divine creator that was truly remarkable. We would have conversations where Lou would talk about if anything in the universe were off just one smidgen in any direction, nothing would exist. If our atmosphere was a different depth, would either burn up or freeze to death. He saw the world as a perfectly balanced, finely tuned, exquisitely wrought miracle. I recall him saying that people could disagree and argue about the nature of God, but he could not fathom how anyone could be an atheist and deny God's existence outright. Lou saw his divine creator in everything around him. After he died, I found an index card where Lou had written a verse from the Wisdom of Solomon. Who in the heck reads the Wisdom of Solomon? Chapter 11, verse 21. By weight, measure, and number, God made all things. Thou hast ordered all things in measure, number, and weight. And that's not the only index card Lou left behind. Lou always had 3x5 index cards close at hand for jotting down interesting facts or quotes that he came across. For example, did you know Yugoslavia split into 7 independent states? Mars' atmosphere is carbon dioxide with some water, and it has 6 millibars of pressure. Wabi-sabi is the concept of finding beauty in imperfection. I like that. The Arctic Ocean is divided into 2 basins, 13,000 feet deep, separated by the Lomonosov Ridge. And last but not least, gladiator food was beans and barley. And Lou never, ever threw any of these index cards away. In the past month, I have gone through archaeological mounds of index cards, dating back to 2015, the first time of our full-time living in LJ. And these cards and papers, some of which were much more profound, I put on the refrigerator, and I actually used them to plan this service. He had an index card of his 3 favorite Psalms, Psalm 1 on the cover of this program, which was by far his favorite, and Psalm 23 and Psalm 100 that we've just read responsively. Right after we got married and we were moving into the Decatur house that we bought as husband and wife, I was going through my stuff and decided I'd take a little kitchen bulletin board and give it to Goodwill. And Lou saw it in the Goodwill stack and said, "Can I have it?" I said, "Sure." He took it down to his man cave basement, and the next time I went down there, he had printed out in his characteristic large font, Psalm 1. And it stayed on that bulletin board all the way to where it moved to his man cave in our LJ cabin. And in the last month of his life, I moved it upstairs to his bedroom, and he died with it beside his bed hanging on the wall. Lou also had multiple copies of the words to his favorite hymn, We Gather Together, which you will remember Dave and Marlene opened our prelude with. I think that was Lou's favorite hymn. Maybe it was his New England background. He loved this hymn. He would start singing it in early November and sing it right through Thanksgiving. And we would sing it loud and very off-key in his black truck while we did errands throughout the fall season. And if we messed up and couldn't remember all the words, the next morning I would find on my placemat at the kitchen table a printout in large font of the words. So we could memorize it together and not mess up the next time. His other favorite hymn, which you'll hear next performed by some very dear church friends, was How Great Thou Art, which of course goes to the majesty and beauty of God's created world. But perhaps the most poignant index card I found was a Latin quote. Lou loved Latin. Innis vitae sed non amoris. There's a Latin teacher, one of my piano students in the congregation. I'm not sure I pronounced it right, but it means the end of life, but not of love. and I made that into a banner for our reception downstairs. Planning Lou's service came easily, particularly with him helping me out along the way with his mounds of index cards and stacks of papers. But preparing this eulogy was quite challenging. We only had 25 years together, 4 years of dating and 20 years of marriage. But it was very difficult to decide what not to share with you about this absolutely brilliant, but completely unpretentious, warm, kind, thoughtful, funny, so funny, strong and protective, vivacious and loquacious, book-reading, coffee-drinking, and quite often stubborn and exasperating man.